You got to plug into power at all cost. You got to infuse every emerald, the most precious, pristine moment into one climax center. You got to find motivation, then you got to find discretion. You got to find happiness, joy, and peace. It's all the similitudes of life, so it's all about finding, not earning. You grow in value, and that value is going to grab a higher ratio of what the value is presenting in the moment and in the worth. And that is how you're going to receive a greater measure. And more is not always a greater measure. And time is not always a substance, nor a thing. But fellowship and drawing into unity and entering into those baskets of fruit is always going to bring pleasantness. That's one stage. And sacrificial yielding and submitting yourself not to wondering, not to vanity, but a truth is always going to yield greater results, greater momentums, greater charges, greater surplus, greater strengths. So now you have pleasantness, and now you have a greater surplus. And to get to thirdfold, you're going to sow into the climaxes. God will direct you, guide you, and give you specific instructions in your spirit. And then there will be overlapping times, and there will be specific openings where you can go more, where you can go deeper, where you can ascend higher. And it might be one moment. And what we discover throughout the day, you don't just do big and wonderful things because you think it's big and wonderful or because you read it was big and wonderful. It's those supercharged empowerments that rise inside of you. Those are the moments when your vocal cords should start to speak. Your spirit should start to speak. The mind of Christ should start to speak. Because in that charge, in that empowerment, you'll go into acceleration. You'll go into transfiguration. You'll go into memorization. You'll unlock 3 keys. And so you have all these keys spiritually that have been unlocked, but you're not grabbing them. They're not manifesting physically because it takes a vortex. It takes a system. It takes a pattern, and it takes a willingness for you to step outside of the old skin into the new wineskin. And so you got to manifest new realities, new opportunities, new words, new sequences. And the discovery can only be on a different side that's never been seen before. And you ultimately have to become the person. Destiny is not about so much reaching a location, reaching an amount or an accumulation. It's about becoming the person where you are. And if you can't walk in the highest level of wealth where you are now, at the amount of money you're making now, at the small house you have now, you'll never be able to make it if it gets bigger. You'll never be able to make it if it grows, because all you have is the now. So if you can't achieve and find the thought that takes you to the highest level of success and reality now, we're failing and failing. We're trying harder. We're doing more things. And there's a small reward for that, but we're still failing. You don't want to do magnificent things for God, but ultimately fail. For instance, if you give everything you have, if you die, if you give your body, if you're so zealous, just like the word tells us, but you don't have love, it's pretty much all in vain. You might still reach heaven. God loves you, but it's pretty much all vain. If you give yourself to die, if you do all these magnificent sacrificial things, and it might look good in the eyes of other people, but you ultimately failed the primary cause, the primary mission, which was to love at all times, fall in love with loving, serve as in sacrificial loving, love your enemies, love everything. And so you don't want to have these high exaltation standpoints in the conscience mind and completely err and fail the primary purpose of why you're here. And so it's better to live simple and be peaceable than go for the highest domain of exaltation and be stranded. Because when you start to wander in the mind, you become stranded. When you become stranded, you become isolated from your purpose and the personality of Christ. In that monopoly piece, in that missing puzzle piece, an opening occurs. And spirits are intelligent. They're always trying to fill a measure because they understand divine real estate. If they're able to fill a measure when the opportunity is given, then they're able to habitate that structure. And then they're able to have influence over that entire city, neighborhood, civilization, and ultimately be recognized and sit upon a pedestal in that sphere. And they know collections of light, of wealth, whatever it is on different planetary systems, whatever it is in different evolutions of spirituality, will come to them. So they see in the eye of the mind all these things that happen when they go for the move. We don't really see all these things as human beings as we move. We might see one hemisphere, But every time you sow a seed, every time you do a pure act of kindness, there are multi-million multitude of things that are occurring. And the more you can see on the outer sphere to the outer sphere to the outer sphere of all that's going on, then you can discover how powerful one seed really is. Then you can discover how much money $1 really is. Then you can discover how much 30 cents can really do. Because we're starting to see in life as cost increase, which is making us deficient of the actual increase. Because the increase doesn't come from the decrease. The increase starts from the basic formula and continually increases and doesn't stop. So just because a cost or an amount has risen, the same principle, the same criteria, the same maneuver that's going to exalt you into a higher degree of wealth and prosperity is going to be in that small seed, and it's not going to be neglected or elsewhere in a bigger seed. It's always going to remain the way God intended it to remain. But we're always in our mind, things are higher, so things are harder. Things are more, so I am less. And it is a spherical, atmospherical thing that is meant to bless us. You see, in life, if things are increasing, you should be excited. But 87 to 90% of our population is worried because prices are so high. If things are increasing, everything is increasing in the world, you think it's the devil. You think it's greed. But what it is God is increasing everything. He's increasing all of our finances. He's increasing all of our revelation. He's increasing all of our access to this information. He's increasing all the divine archives of historical artifacts of Jesus Christ. But because we don't see it and perceive it like that, we can't be it and believe it like that. And if we can't be it or believe it like that, then we can't do it or reel it in like that. And if we can't do it or reel it in like that, we can't have that, what was intended, or that increase. Now I'm about to go in this building and touch somebody's life with my smile. I'm about to go in this building and things are breaking off corridors of our mind in a sacrificial state, in a state of giving, in a state of thanksgiving. You do these things and you enter into states. And that's going to cause the temperature to increase. And that's going to cause the flame of God to arouse. And certain things are going to be consumed, and they're going to be burned up, and they're going to be unbound, and it's going to unwind off other people's minds. So the dominating of the mind, as your spirit rise, it's going to bring healing to many. The vocals and the words are going to get sweeter. The technology is going to get brighter. The abilities are going to enhance. Everything's going to increase. All evil and wickedness and the things you used to once struggle with are going to decrease. And you're going to be blissful and so blessed. And you will arise now, not later. Amen. We are blessed today. As many gates unlock, as we fly higher, as we travel into the diversity of light, as we look at our past recollections of experiences, it all boils down to an experience, not something you attach emotionally to hatred, not something you look as more significant to the other void. But we take those and we allow it to bring us to ascension, a greater civilization, a greater realm of the kingdom, a greater level of the light of God in Christ. And we pursue that with all of us. We let go of worldly, temporal things with all of us, and we go for the eternity with all of us and all that we are, and all of our heart, and all of our mind, in all of our soul, in all of our spirit. And we're blessed today because conclusions will be given. The end of a thing will finish. And in the end of that thing, we will be completed. We'll be finished. And then we'll go into a new strand. There will be a new joy that we've never experienced before. There will be a new level of peace that we've never had before. There will be a new level of rest that we've never imagined. And in all the different characteristics of God, as they awaken in us, we will see so many more sides of Him and travel in and with and through Him in this time lapse. And we'll realize nothing that we could have ever gained on the earth made us better, greater, richer, more successful, or less than anybody else on this planet. That was all a lie and an illusion and veil to a lie to get you to believe a lie, to live a lie. Inside of you is the greatest wealth there could ever be, regardless of what you possess physically. Inside of you is the greatest champion, the greatest king that could ever breathe on this earth, regardless of how many battles you think that you've lost. Inside of you is the highest height of the strength of God in full display, regardless of how many weaknesses you have, things you think you don't like about yourself. And it will remain that way, and it's always been that way, and it's never going to change that way. And that's the truth of the truth of the truth. When you get to a point in life, which God will take you, if you pursue him with all your heart, all your might, and love on him, and you devote your life to nothing else but loving him, money will show up out of nowhere. You'll have more success, more pleasure, more prosperity than you could contain. But we don't have that because we're not doing our job. Your job is not to be successful on earth. That's a byproduct. Your job is to love God with all your heart, stay in worship with him, stay in fellowship with him, stay in thanksgiving with him. Then everything else will just fall on your plate. Gold, diamonds, mansions, civilization, souls, spirits, whatever you want. But we start to devote ourselves to the pursuit of world and things. And the more we do that, the further they run from us. We're the attraction magnet. We're not begging for anything here. It takes time to get there. But I want you to know you are blessed. Every kind of fear, things you don't like, they'll come into containment. God will purge them. And if it's in pure faith, pure love, what you're doing, you'll receive everlasting reward. And you'll get to experience that reward now. Operate in that reward now. Live in the full measure of that reward now. Be complete in your heart center now. And all the completion of God inside of you will start to just happen day after day, a month, a year. You'll mature and you'll become brighter. We go through a lot of ups. We go through a lot of downs. But in between, when we love God, when we yield to him, there's certain things in our life we know we're supposed to be doing that we're not doing. That's why we're not receiving the full manifestation of our desires. We work so hard for things that don't exist. But when we come back into alignment of any human being on this earth of what God is telling you to do, and sometimes you might have to revisit dreams, revisit things, because he wants you to seek him. So it's not like, hey, God, what did you tell me yesterday? And he's just going to show up like a genie and tell you. He wants you to seek. But if we do what we're supposed to do, you're going to have incredible joy. You're going to have incredible victory. And we need victory in the land. You're not going to be bound by demons. You're not going to be bound by fear. You're not going to be bound by worry. You're not going to be bound by sickness. You can't when you're doing in your calling. But we're always stepping out of that divine swimming pool when we're supposed to stay in that divine swimming pool. And so we have to symbolize and simplify everything and just stay in that knowledge. Stay in the reading of his word. Stay in worship. Stay in giving. Stay in focusing on how you can help somebody else. Stay in, okay, there's all these challenges, things you don't know if you're doing right. Stay in prayer about them. And you're going to come out so fresh, so joyous, so explosive, so anointed, so visibly successful, so rich, so incredible, so alive. And it's going to be so amazing what you experience. All things that have tried to settle in your mind about you don't have enough of this, you don't have enough of that, you still haven't done this, they will wander away and vanish. And the truth of how powerful you are, how rich you are, will come to fruition. And you'll see it with your own eyes, even in the flesh. And it will change you. It'll transform you. You'll go higher. You won't be able to go back down to that frequency on that side. You might be still dealing with that low frequency on that side, but this side has been completed. And you'll be at a high frequency, high vibration, high ecstatic praise. And people will just feel God all in you and over you. You'll have so much favor in the land. Everybody will want to hire you. You'll be on everybody's memory. Everybody will want to give you crowns. You'll get to the point where even kings that have been on an old throne, they'll be willing to give it up to you, all the reign, all the territory of that dimension. People will just give unto you. You don't chase what you want. You chase who you were created to be. And even if that seems like you're lacking something, you don't have an amount you want out. We always want out of what God put us in. No, you stay there until wanting dies, until you never want more again, until you never want higher again, until you never want something greater than the greatest that you already possess again. I love you. And we're out. A new purity has entered into our mind and our intentions. That calling We're going to answer every time it rings in our heart. And we're going to stay in this flow of devotion. And we're going to watch miraculous things take place in our health, our wealth, our souls, our lives. And we're going to bridge out into such an opening gap that angels are going to visit us, higher dimensional spirits shall visit us. We're going to have so many dreams. We're going to be in awe as we decode them. And we're going to be almost lost. Have you ever just been lost in so much success, so much abundance, and you couldn't find your way out because there was so much gold? Well, that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to be almost just lost in the wealth and riches of Christ. And we won't know how to get out of being the most successful being that ever existed, of being the most potent being that ever existed, of being the most powerful. Before you were stuck in traps of doubt, fear. Now you're going to be stuck in traps of unfathomable glory, unfathomable power. You won't be able to escape it. Don't you love it? I'll see you soon. I'm taking a flight. I'm going to go on some experiences. And we're going to be at a higher dimension. And I'll bring you the plate. I'll bring you the manna. I'll bring you the manna.